Actually, I think I did mute it. I believe I actually muted it.
The thing says we're live.
I know it does. It says we're live. And we are live.
And I got the notification.
Look at that. Wow, notifications actually work? Holy shit, dude.
They only work when you hit the bell.
I mean, that's also true. I don't know how many channels I actually hit the bell on. Welcome back to the Sugoi Boys. For now, it is me and J Chip from the J Chip Show. It's questionable if we're going to see Dread at some point tonight, work complications and such. But I'm happy to see J Chip from the J Chip Show, even though he's been making me watch a not great anime of late, but it's not the worst thing in the world, which we'll get to. But it's okay because I have been drowning myself in good anime all weekend.
You got to have some bad to mix with the good.
You know, it's a good balance. You know, it surely is. So actually, we'll start with you, Mr. J Chip. What have you been watching?
Well, the thing is I haven't been watching a lot of anime this week. I've only been watching one show, and that's Angels of Death.
Oh, he's been
and
watching.
I've been watching that in like seconds. Then I just get tired of it. I'm really trying to push through that show. I'm sorry, Warpbait, but that's a tough show to get through.
Warpate's had some bad luck lately because I know he really likes Future Diary. And
I haven't seen it, so I can't say.
Talked about it. It's not good.
But I have been playing a lot of video games, and I beat The Last of Us, which was an amazing game.
I saw you. Did you tweet about that? I think about finally beating it. You finally beat The Last of Us. It came out in like 2012 or some shit, and you finally beat it.
2012 or 2013, somewhere around that.
Now, what took you so long?
Well, it came out on the PS3, and I didn't have a PS3.
All right, easy enough. I thought the way you made it sound was like you started it back then. You just gave up on it until now.
When I got my PS4, they remastered it for the PS4, and for whatever reason, I just kind of held off onto it. Then, when it was really cheap, I picked it up, but I didn't play it for like 5 months. Then I decided, you know what? Last of Us 2 looks amazing. Why not play the first one? Mm-hmm. And the first one was pretty good.
Okay. I have, like, my only experience with The Last of Us was living, like, just watching one of my friends play. Because it was, like, I don't even know if the game was definitely not new when it had come out. But I should probably share the link to this chat too. But the game was definitely not new when it came out. But I remember everybody talking about like the cool story and the atmosphere and everything like that. And I mean, and it seemed kind of cool. Obviously, like from a visual standpoint, it seemed fucking like pretty amazing, especially for the time. It seems like
at that time they were really pushing the PS3's hardware.
True. That is true.
I will say it isn't a perfect game, but it is damn good.
I'm trying to think of how far he actually got. Because it wasn't like I just noticed that there wasn't a thumbnail for this. That's okay. It's our beautiful faces.
Yeah.
But yeah, he definitely didn't get very far because I think I think The Last of Us just like wasn't necessarily like his game. But like it was almost like watching like kind of like it plays out like a movie, you know. The story is told pretty well. I think some of like the action sequences seem kind of repetitive and like bullshitty. Like I really disliked how.
I mean, it is.
I really disliked how like the clickers or whatever they're called just kill you in like a millisecond. Like it's you just know. Like if you just make a noise within like a foot of them, like it's over.
The bloaters were annoying too.
But like later on in the game, you're fucking fighting like shitty like a bunch of like you're like a little girl with like a gun, like or maybe I'm thinking of the second game or like the
you play as Ellie during the later half of the game.
Yeah, and you're like fighting like full on adults. You're like you're gonna let me as a little girl fight this adult, but I can't as a grown man fight a clicker.
I mean, okay, so here's the context of what happened. I'm going to spoil it.
Spoilers for a game from 2012. I mean, I know the guy dies.
Hey, he doesn't die.
Oh, I thought he died.
But he gets stabbed. But he fights one of the dudes, and then he falls into a spike, and then Ellie like takes care of him until he gets better. That's one of the things that I don't like about The Last of Us. It seems jumpy. Like when a big important event happens, they'll just turn it to a different like point in time. Like at
the beginning,
kind of spoiler.
The woman dies. I mean, no one gives a shit about Last of Us. Okay, at the beginning, when like his hot friend dies, she like sacrifices herself. She's like, I don't got bit. You guys need to go run away. And then she fucking like, she doesn't sound like that at all. But they go run away and she rips, dude. So like. What happened.
I mean, like the scene I'm talking about is when Sam and Henry, when they die, when the little boy gets infected and doesn't tell them, and then he turns into the infected people.
Oh.
After Joel kills both the little boy and the Henry guy, it just switches over to them in spring, and I'm like, what happened in between that?
Nothing.
No, I would like to know.
Nothing, Justin. It was immediately spring the next day, and you will not question.
Speaking
how the season.
Speaking of that guy that told me to watch Angel of Death, Warpate is here.
Warp is here? I have not seen his comment yet. It is delayed to StreamYard, so I have to have another tab open. We didn't animate the main girl sounds like that. It sounds like my impersonation. Yeah, I would love that. Yeah, see, it just the comment just posted in StreamYard, so I might be delayed on comments here. But yeah,
so what are you watching?
If we had an anime character just talk, well, I'll tell you what, Justin, I can't keep that up. I feel like it would just transform into Harry Lolly bullshit. It'd be like, wow, well, I was one. I am the opposite. I have not been playing a whole lot of video games. I have been watching anime, but sort of the same anime from. Recently, I've become a seasonal pleb, I guess. Which if I actually made more videos about what was popular, maybe I'd get some more clicks. I didn't watch either of the anime I had you two watch this month. It's okay, Warp. It's okay, Warp. You're cool, dude. However, I have been watching Demon Slayer still. That's this week's episode. Last week's episode was a fucking banger, but this week's was pretty good. It introduced potential new waifu to the show, a girl whose name I already forgot, but I like her a lot, and mostly because she's pretty and she uses poison, so it's a twofer for me. My husband's powering up for the Portland event. Yeah. Hopefully going to a Yu-Gi-Oh regional in Portland, Maine next week, a week from today.
How much longer does Demon Slayer have?
Demon Slayer, it's got to be. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be 2 core, and then it's got to have more because there's no way the story is nowhere near done. So episode I think 20 just happened, and like there's first of all there's a lot to the world that we don't know. And in terms of like killing baddies, like there's like a group of baddies and they just killed one. So, but yeah, a lot of seasonal stuff this year looked decent. I've not had the opportunity to watch it, but been watching One Piece instead. That is a classic Warp bait. I expect nothing else from you. But okay. But good on you. And you know what you enjoy. If anything, Warp, I wish I I think Warp has a deep connection to like what he enjoys, and more than anything else. Like he'll reread One Piece, he'll just then watch One Piece, and he knows what makes him happy, and it's great. Meanwhile, you got J-Chip over here. You have Justin.
It'll take him a week to do it too.
It'll take him a week. Yeah, Warpy can read school. We can read school days. Can read. Can fucking read all of One Piece in like half an hour. All right. So other seasonal bullshit. Vinland Saga is still fucking Vinland Saga. I literally just finished this week's episode moments before this. Pretty good.
I haven't watched this week's episode. I haven't watched last week's episode.
All right. Well, you should catch up. They're pretty good. I hate how the show.
I will want to come home.
I liked how it set up itself at the beginning with like the sort of like arc of like when he was a kid and stuff, and now we're getting into like teenage, young adult years. It's been pretty good. I hate to be that guy, but some of the CG animation looks wonky when they try and use it. I don't know why they feel the need to do that, and I'm usually not the kind of person to complain about that sort of thing. But it just looks weird because like a lot of aspects of the show look really good, like when they fight and stuff and when blood sprays. But sometimes they like there's a scene in this newest episode. I don't want to spoil too much, but like they're trying to ram down a door, and they're using like obviously like a big fucking like it's Viking times, so like they have this big wooden fucking battering ram, and like the camera, the perspective is like from the door. And it's trying to just make it look like this 3D, like, fucking battering ram, but it didn't need to do that. But that's been pretty good. And then Dr. Stone. I haven't
been watching any of that.
Oh, my God. I can't believe I'm saying this with how much I love the Vinland Saga manga. But Dr. Stone is probably my favorite one right now. Because it's so fucking interesting. Like, it's so not interesting enough to make me read it. Because I've been told the manga's not. Do not read Dr. Stone. Just watch Dr. Stone. It's a much better experience. Okay. And you've read like ahead, right?
No.
Or is it?
I've read like the first 5 chapters with art, and then he continued on.
Okay.
I just found the manga to be really boring, but the anime is very entertaining. It's one of those things that, like, the anime is better than the manga. And there's very few anime that are like that.
I was going to say, like, there's not too many examples of that. It's even hard for me to, like, think. I haven't, because I think
Attack on Titan's a better anime.
Yeah, I only read the first volume of that. And I read the first volume of Titan, and I've seen the first 2 seasons of anime. I'm trying to think. I'm not well versed enough in manga, but like everything, it's usually the opposite. Like Dead Man Wonderland is a better. I'm fucking looking at my shelf. Dead Man Wonderland's a better manga. Watamode is a better manga. Noragami.
I like that anime though.
Noragami actually.
I like the Noragami anime. It just needs another season.
I like it too. I would agree. The manga, have you ever read any of the manga? It's, I mean, it's like more or less the same story, but for whatever reason, Yato, I like him in the anime, but he's like more devious and more, his character does the same shit and acts kind of the same way, but it feels like a different character in the manga, and it's kind of hard to explain. Like, he feels like more of an asshole, which is kind of funny.
I think you said it before on this podcast, but you think the Soul Eater anime is better than the manga.
I haven't. No. I don't know if that's because I haven't read the manga, so I can't be. Maybe I said that.
I know you said something about the Soul Eater manga.
I think I probably said fuck the manga because I like the anime. And every single person that has read the manga tells me, "Hey, Miasma, the Soul Eater manga tells the story way better." I don't give a shit. Soul Eater is one of the best shonen anime of all time until the end. The end isn't very good, but like, I read the first volume.
I will say this though. I think the Soul Eater ending is better than the Full Metal Alchemist ending.
Like 2003.
The 03, the 03 ending.
Fuck yeah, that other ending sucks. I don't give a shit who's triggered. How many people we got watching? With 5? If you like that first Full Metal Alchemist ending, oh boy, that was
the anime. But the ending was just not that great.
Even like the arc, like some events like preceding that, like the shit with Dante and the fucking like how their dad used to fuck this old lady, and like what's his name? Frank Archer. Do you remember Robo Frank Archer? How they made a goddamn mech guy in Full Metal Alchemist? No, just watch Brother.
Thing where they end up in Berlin, Germany, and all this shit. Like
that was fucking stupid.
Shambhala is just weird.
That movie blows too. But it's not as bad as this. Have you ever seen The Star of Milos?
Yeah.
It's their other movie. It's animated by like a different studio and it looks like shit. But
I don't remember. It's been a long time.
But so yeah, everything I've been watching lately has been pretty good. But there are bad things, which is good. Which is good that we talked about Conqueror of Shambhala because I guess I've seen 3 episodes now of School Days. Because
the infamous School Days.
Because somebody had a patron requested me to see it. And his name is Jay Chip.
Right here.
Which reminds me, I have to do another list video for I get to talk about 5 anime that I dislike that everybody likes for Warp. That's gonna be awesome because that other list was really fun to do. The opposite. However, School Days is an infamous anime from like 2012 that everybody flipped their shit about, and everybody was like, "Oh, it's the worst." What's his name? Arcada came on and said it's the worst anime of all time. It's okay. It's not. I know everything that happens because back in like 2013 or whenever this was popular, 2012, I read the Wikipedia for this show and I know the entire plot. I just haven't seen it. And it seems kind of funny to me by the end. And now seeing like the first 3 episodes, I'm like looking forward to the end in more ways than one because the show's boring. But
so if you had no idea like what happens at the end, someone comes up to you and says, "Hey, how's School Days?" What's your response?
If someone said, would you say if someone asked me how School Days?
How School Days was if you weren't spoiled to the ending.
Oh, it's boring. Like, I mean, I've only seen 3 episodes and it's boring and the main character's like a douche. The main character is like very much not likable. So this fucking guy Makoto, everybody should know by now. Makoto, he goes on like a bus and he finds this like big titty girl that he like instantly falls in love with, but she's not into him at first. And he fucking makes his phone background like her, which is weird as shit. By the way,
that's like a ritual thing. If you can keep your crush as your background for a week, they'll fall in love with you.
God, that's some like serial killer shit.
That's what I heard at least.
But he has this like other friend named Sakai, who's also a girl who's definitely into him, but he's like more about the big titty girl. And she's like, she kind of just likes hanging around him, so she's coming up with like, "Oh, I'm gonna help you get this girl," even though she actually likes him. And you know he like very quickly he woos over big titty girl in like 1 episode, and then they start to date. But just in the last episode, he fucking says that he's bored of her. In episode 3, in episode 3, he's bored of the girl that he was in love with. All right, now, all right. I guess I could defend. How should I defend this? Because it's not the worst show. The worst anime I've ever seen. Let me get it out of the way. Hey, Nia, what's up? Good to see you. I like how the flip of emotion between me talking about fucking school days and me seeing Nia in the chat. That is, thank you, Nia. But so fucking school days. I'm about to praise it. No, not really. But the worst anime I've ever seen, getting it out of the way, is Super Kid. If you're gonna count that, it's a Korean anime that Bob Samurai showed to me, and I watched it with my friends from college. And it is awful. You can watch the entire thing on YouTube. It is the worst animation I've ever seen. It is a Dragon Ball ripoff. The story doesn't really make any sense. It doesn't develop any of the characters. The action scenes look like shit. The voice acting is awful. It is just bad all around. It is only good to watch for the sake of the lulz. That is it. That is the only redeeming thing. It's like almost like Garzy's Wing. I would imagine if I watched Garzy's Wing subbed. Well, actually, no, it'd probably be sort of the same because it's like the same story. But if Garzy's Wing didn't have such funny lines, imagine that would be the worst. If Garzy's Wing didn't have even dinosaurs are here.
What about Spectral Force?
Spectral Force is really bad too, but it's not as bad as Super Kid. But actually, that's a good example. Spectral Force is kind of like Garzy's Wing, except it looks a little better, and it doesn't have any. So I don't know anything about it. And it doesn't really have funny lines. But Garzy's Wing.
I heard it takes itself too seriously.
Yeah, that I would agree with that. Garzy's Wing is the worst anime everyone needs to watch. People don't need to watch Super Kid. Watch Super Kid if you really want something bad. Watch it in a group. That's the only time I would recommend.
It's kind of like The Room.
Yeah, I haven't seen The Room, but I would imagine that's how
it's on YouTube. Go watch it.
Oh my god. Nia woke up early. But School Days is not Super Kid. Okay, it's not that bad. Don't let people in it. It's pretty bad, but it's not good. And so nice. I don't recommend watching it. I would say it looks nice.
It at least looks good. Yeah.
It looks okay. It looks like a budget Clannad.
I believe at the time. I believe that was the first anime that studio ever did.
Well, oh my god! All right, well, wait for it to start.
They also did High School DxD.
Biggest issue with Super Kid. Oh my god, they went from School Days to High School DxD. Biggest issue with Super Kid is that it is boring as hell. Yeah, it's not even like Super Kid will be funny for a few minutes, for 30 seconds, and then you'll be bored for 3 minutes. And you can't have that. It's got Garzy's Wing doesn't do that. Garzy's Wing is fucking you're laughing, some more ridiculous shit happens, you're laughing some more, and then credits roll. That's Garzy's Wing. But yeah, School Days is not that bad. What I consider in a shitty anime is it doesn't meet certain criteria of you don't have interesting characters, you don't have a plot, a story that intrigues me at all. So you're not intriguing, and your characters, I want my characters to either be relatable or so unrelatable that it's intriguing. You know what I mean? Like a character like Haruhara Haruko from Fooly Cooly is in no way, shape, or form relatable to me in my life. But she's so fucking bizarre that I love her as a character. So it's got to be one of those. Either I can relate to them, or they're just so bizarre that I got to pay attention. And then you got to have a story that's intriguing me. It doesn't have to necessarily be unique. Look at Demon Slayer. It's a shonen show with demons in it. That's been done a couple times. But it's so intriguing. And it can't look like shit. Hopefully. I mean, there's some not great looking shows that are still good, but but yeah, it's just and a show to me is bad if it fails in sort of all those fronts. Gungrave. What about Gungrave, Warp? Gungrave's great. Gungrave has a character that I relate to.
Gungrave's okay.
Gungrave has cool action. Gungrave is at the same time a mafia story and a sci-fi revenge tale.
I like the first episode of Gungrave. That was pretty cool, kick-ass.
The first episode, that's the one that technically you could skip because it's kind of like dessert.
Yeah, I watched that with Warpaid and Bob, and we all liked the first episode.
True. I mean, I like the backstory art. See, I feel like even with some people that like Gungrave, I much prefer. I don't want to spoil. I love Gungrave, but I much prefer events that take place before a certain event in a elevator, prior to the events that happen after said elevator. Yeah. I like that show a lot better. Brandon, that scene is so good.
So what about School Days that you like?
What about School Days do I like? It's short. It's only 12 episodes. No, it's not. I mean, you said it's not ugly. How do I put this? At times, it seems like a believable romance story until like recently.
Oh yeah.
I feel like
I could see that stuff happening.
Like the girls, Kotanoha and Sakai, I think, seem realistic. Like they seem like real. Like I feel like, I mean, I'm not a woman, but I feel like women might have those problems. Like you might be friends with a guy that likes some other girl. You might meet a guy and maybe you're dating or whatever, and it gets fat. I kind of like them both. I kind of feel a little bit for Sakai, but at the end of the day, I feel like Sakai should just kind of like man up. But it could probably be hard. Makoto's a shit.
Makoto is a douchebag.
Fuck that dude. Like,
I mean, you gotta admit he was written that way, so he's doing a pretty good job at it.
I guess so. Yeah. But in the J Chip opinion, what constitutes a bad anime?
If it's boring, I don't like any of the characters. If it sounds like shit, if it looks like shit.
Now, when you say sounds like shit, do you mean like when you say sounds like shit, do you mean just like a dub? Because there's
the dub, sub, or the music.
Okay. But there's probably like shows that are good that just have bad dubs.
I mean, there are. Like Gungrave.
Gungrave does not have a bad dub. Gungrave is Kirk Thornton, who's amazing. It just has some weird moments, like Brandon. Never betray the family.
Planet is a good show that has a bad dub.
Yeah, I watched it in its dub, but like, yeah, it's not great. It's weird how they pronounce the girl's name.
Nagisa.
Okay, and what would you name an anime that you like? Is there an anime that you constitute as the worst of all time? Is it probably Super Kid?
No, I don't want to. I don't want to throw shade at Super Kid because it's a Korean work. Also, everyone kind of shits on that, but I think Angel of Death is very, very bad, and same with Vampire Knight. Those are my two go-to. Are like the shittiest anime that nobody should watch.
Oh my god, Angels of Death. Thank you.
That is the most.
It's here, by the way. The person that recommended Angels of Death is here. I guess recommend is a loose term.
Yeah.
But that shit was bad.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, Warpaid. Like I'm struggling here. I'm like halfway through.
I mean, it's not hideous. It's okay looking.
I mean, compared to other JC staff works, I think Shakugan no Shana looks a lot better.
And it came out like 10 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Jay-Z staff has some interesting choices. They also did Vatican Miracle Examiner, which is also really bad. That I watched.
JC Staff did Food Wars, and that show looks amazing.
But Angels of Death, you can check out my review, by the way. Not great.
I'm also watching a dub, which is the worst.
Okay. You know what? I've been playing Devil's Advocate all night. Nia makes a good point. So it has a good start.
I'll give it that, yeah.
I'm gonna be all right, this is a loose use of the word good. But it has an interesting start. Angels of Death starts out immersing you in this fucking crazy world, which is adapted from a video game. Then they threw in the garbage. Yeah, exactly. Then they threw in the garbage, and I got this like cool sort of like Beetlejuice-esque vibe. I mean, it's kind of like with how her dress looks and everything, her shirt or whatever. And I was just like, okay, this world's going to be interesting. Hopefully the characters are interesting, and hopefully we learn some shit. Nope. None of the. Well, I mean,
like Rachel started out as like a cool character, but she just gets so fucking boring when the show goes on.
And Zach,
he looks cool, but that's really about it. He looks like in the dub or sub. Because the dub is pretty bad.
I just did the sub, I think. I don't remember. Yeah, sub. I watch it in Japanese. He does this like annoying laugh all the time.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of good anime out there with a good premise, but they just don't execute it very well.
Funny you should mention that. Mr. I mentioned him every cast pretty much. Mr. Digibro just did a video about how the premise. James Chippa knew I was going to bring this up. He had a does the premise matter? And not. I agree with Digi, like not necessarily. Because kind of like what Warp's saying, like you could have a great premise and still be shitty.
Yeah.
But like the premise is sort of just like the vehicle to like where you're going. Like Dr. Stone, fantastic example. The premise of Dr. Stone is simple as fuck. It's just people trying to reinvent humanity after events where everybody got frozen in stone, right? It's what the characters do that makes it interesting. It's how the world is different that makes it interesting. It's the events that move the story forward past just the premise. Evil or Live is another one that had a decent premise, but the anime sucked hard. I never saw Evil or Live. And we're going to rattle off bad anime. And I know J-Chip has also seen this. Trinity Blood is quite not good. Trinity Blood is something that unfortunately I have on my shelf that I wish wasn't really there. And I'm pretty sure J-Chip probably agrees if he has it on his shelf. That's one with a really cool premise.
I don't.
That shits all over itself. It's a fucking like I
don't even remember.
Oh, it's like vampires. Vampires. That's it. But it's like
that's all I know about it.
It's the church fighting like vampires and shit, and it just happens to. At the church employs cyborgs and like Abel Nightroad is his name, and which is a badass name. Wasted on this character, but Abel Nightroad is a Cursemic, which is a vampire that feeds on vampires specifically. And ordinarily he's a fucking dunce like Kenshin. But when no one is around besides the villain, then he turns into this fucking like insane. Then he becomes the guy from Hellsing Ultimate, Alucard. And then he's badass. But like, and the rest of it is them like different sort of missions by the church to fix wrongs done by vampires and shit. But it's fucking boring as shit because the story's not told well. And that's a good example of like you have an interesting premise, but you go nowhere with it, and your characters suck. Abel fucking sucks as a character too. He is no Brandon Heat. Let me tell you that. What is so funny, Mr. J Chip?
The only thing I remember about that show is fucking Greg Ayers is the Pope.
Oh, Greg Ayers is the Pope.
That's the only thing I remember from that show.
I forgot about
that. And that the main guy likes milk.
With lots of sugar. Yeah, milk and sugar. And then he feeds out a vampire.
That's all I know.
Pope. My biggest complaint is its art style. It's done by Gonzo, by the way.
Yeah.
Which is a very Gonzo might be the most hit or miss studio of all time because they have like parts of Afro Samurai. I can't even talk. Parts of Afro Samurai look amazing, like the action sequences.
Full Metal Panic looks pretty good.
Full Metal Panic. Some parts of NHK look okay. And then you get to the other parts of NHK and the other parts of Afro Samurai and almost everything in Trinity Blood. And it looks like you just took a fat doo-doo and tried on a piece of paper and tried to hand that into your animation staff and say, make a show out of this. And because, it's also kind of not their fault because the character designs, RIP to the original mangaka or author, I don't know if they're light novels of Trinity Blood, because that dude did pass away a couple years ago, I think before the story was necessarily complete. So not really hating on that guy, but I hate his character designs because they all look like, if you're on your computer, just Google image Trinity Blood characters, and everybody looks like, unless they're fighting, everybody looks like Precious Moments dolls. Like they look like they have these like big eyes that look like they're about to cry all the time, and like they're all like really glistening, and they're all like everybody moves like that show is like on Valium, dude. That show is like oh, he's going to the church. Can we save them? I don't know. Everybody, and then the vampires are here. Better get out! Look out! Everything is just like on horse tranquilizer. And then Greg Ayers is the Pope.
Yeah, which is amazing.
Do you have another show that you consider really bad
with a good premise?
It could.
Trying to think here. I think Dance in the Vampire Bund actually has a very good premise. But it's executed very poorly.
Yeah.
If the vampire wasn't a little girl, I think that show would have been a lot popular.
The main guy is not very interesting.
A lot. I mean, he isn't.
Actually, good example of the character not meeting up to his reputation. Because if all I told you was like the backstory of the main character, you'd be like, "Wow, that's fucking cool." Because he's a werewolf that used to be part of this like vampire kingdom, but now he has like amnesia for some reason, and now in his current high school life, he's just like a fucking fuckboy. He's just some guy. It has a lolly vampire girl who is, like 12,000 years old, which is the argument that every pedo bear on the internet will use when they go on Rule 34 / Dance of the Vampire.
She's also voiced by Monica Rial. Yeah.
I guess. Oh, let me explain. So, not a lot of people will probably see. If you never heard of Dance of the Vampire Bund, essentially, so premise-wise, it is really cool. The nation, I think it's in episode 1. They vampires reveal themselves to humanity on a telecast. There's a queen. But there's other groups of vampires. But a sect of vampires reveals their existence to the world on a telecast, right? and they say, well, we can both exist. Just give us our own country. I don't think they ever really go into like what are they going to eat, which was my immediate first question. I was like, okay, vampires are alive. Whatever. They want their own country. All right. They seem pretty civil. Okay. They're vampires, which means they eat blood, probably from a human. What are we gonna just like randomly send people over there and they're just gonna feed the whole nation of vampires is gonna feed on them?
I feel like Shiki did that premise a lot better.
Yeah, because Shiki makes it seem like it's a curse. Because the girl in Shiki hates that she is this and she admits this to the priest guy. Because, by the way, if you haven't seen Shiki, fucking watch it. So by the end of it, she admits to the priest guy. The priest guy saves her because he feels bad for her because in her perspective, her and her kind are no longer they're free but cursed because they're free because they can't go to heaven or hell. So there's no sense of divine punishment for them. She refers to it as free from the eyes of God, right? So she doesn't have any rules, but she also can't die. Well, she can't. Well, she can't die normally.
Yeah,
and she can't go anywhere. So the Shiki handles it like it's like a curse that happens to these people. Whereas Dance of the Vampire Bund treats it like this fancy romantic thing where it's we're going to make our own nation, a nation of vampires. Isn't that neat? Well, what are you gonna eat? Fuck. I can just see Trump. I can see Trump signing the treaty for that shit. Okay, we're good. We got the vampires. They're good. They got their own country. We won't have any illegal vampires coming in here. This is the world's worst Trump, by the way. We're not gonna have any illegal vampires. Nope, not anymore. Not in my America. We're going to make America vampire free again. And they're going to have their own country. Mr. President, they are demanding 1,000 human bodies a month. Shit. Hoshino Koei, Voices of Distant Star, did not like. Also didn't like Kill la Kill. So Voices of Distant Star, that's my man Makoto Shinkai, dude. But that's his first work. So it is kind of boring. I could see why you might be bored with it. The only I don't mind. I think it's an interesting idea for a story, like a premise. So I think it's a good one. He doesn't the characters just aren't that interesting in that story. He could have done a way better job, but it was his first work, and he did it all on a laptop, which is the most impressive part of that. Kill la Kill. We've all heard me talk about Kill la Kill. I haven't finished it. Someday I should just sit and watch all of Kill la Kill, and then maybe my mind will get changed. But
you can have one of your patrons watch it. Make you watch it.
Oh God! Please don't. I might quit YouTube.
It'll be the month of trigger for my asthma.
Oh my! No, it won't. It'll be the month of get triggered.
What is it about Trigger that you think is bad?
I just hate how it looks. A lot of their shit, I just hate their art style. So I am a fan of I don't mind if the anime can look a little wacky. Devilman Crybaby, for example, looks fucking weird. Okay, at times. They don't really look like normal people would look. It's got a lot of wonky demon shit going on. It's got a lot of interesting color schemes. And that's everything by Masaki Yuasa. So Kimono Zume and Kaiba all have this weird fucking art style that I don't think... It's not how I would want my show to look, but it's not hideous. It's not super kid level. And I feel the same way about most Trigger works. It's just that they also piss me off because they make some very cool looking scenes and like character designs. Like Kill la Kill, I don't know her name, but the I think it's the principal lady, who's the one with like the one with the rainbow hair. Really cool character.
I don't remember.
There's a character with like rainbow hair, and she's like, it's like a flowing rainbow. Really cool character design. Okay. But I hate how they're very heavily influenced by like Western animation. You can tell by like American cartoons, which is cool. I grew up watching American cartoons. I love Ed, Edd n Eddy, but Ed, Edd n Eddy looks like shit. Like I don't want my anime to look like shit. Like I want it to be good. I put Japanese animation in a higher regard than I do with a majority. In fact, all. I've never seen a Western animation that I would say like looks better than the better looking Japanese anime. So like I put Japanese anime on a higher echelon. And so when Trigger does this shit that like they cut I don't even know if I want to say cutting corners. It's just their style. It's just oh my god, what is his name? Hiroyuki Imaishi's sort of style of wanting things just to look this wonky, weird way. Promare is the new movie that they're coming out with. Has some really interesting shots that I saw in the trailer, but I could already tell it's gonna. I hate in like Kill la Kill. Kill la Kill is the biggest like. Gun the Gun does this too, where like they have. I just hate when characters continuously, when you go into like action sequences, look really off model. Or you just have like little pet peeve things for me, like when a character's like hair, right, waves, and you see like their eye like through their hair, which doesn't make any sense. Like in real life, if your hair went in front of you, but it's just little stuff like that bothers me about them, and I just think it looks like garbage. And everybody like jerks off to Trigger on the internet for some reason. Little Witch Academia wasn't awful. That's also like their least wacky looking show, so that's probably why I like it the most.
They also did Darling in the Franxx with A1 Pictures,
and I haven't seen that, but I feel like I should because A1 is part of it too. They probably help.
I do think that show looks fine, but if you're not into the Western style that Trigger does, you'll like Darling in the Franxx because it's definitely Japanese like anime.
I mean, yeah. I just want to see Zero too.
Of course you do. Ichigo's best girl.
I like that dude whose movies we keep watching. His animation is pretty good. Though Sammy, you're talking about Boy and the Beast and Girl Up Through Time. Mamoru Hosoda. Yeah, I think his stuff looks good, but samey is the word. He has a lot of the very same like his character. I mean, but what's his name? Miyazaki does this too, and so does so did Studio Sunrise for a while. Like you look at
like does it all the time.
Like look at Skryed and Infinite Revius. Like their characters like have like the same face.
They're the same. They're the same exact artist.
Yeah.
Same exact everything. As a matter of fact.
You read a lot of porn of their work. There's a lot of porn of who.
But when you brought up Western animation, it kind of reminded me of Panty and Stocking with Garter Belt. I think that's the biggest offense. That's the biggest offense that guy has made.
Yeah, because it's just like fart jokes and like sex jokes.
Fart jokes, fat shaming, sex jokes, just in every direction.
And then there's scenes where like they look like anime characters look great.
Not really.
They look okay in comparison to everything else.
No. I think the entire thing just looks like shit.
Which there's a lot of shit in it. So there you go.
There is. I mean, there is a scene about shit. Like,
don't they fight like a shit monster?
Yeah, in the first episode. Like a shit monster comes out of the toilet.
Oh,
and I'm like, you know, that stuff works in South Park. I don't think it works well in anime.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, anime doesn't... anime should probably have a South Park. Like, you get what I mean? Like anime.
Yeah.
Like, we have South Park from like a Western audience, right? Anime doesn't, until Panty and Stocking, like, it didn't really. I mean, I guess Golden Boy, but it didn't really have.
I mean, Golden Boy was like a long time ago.
Yeah, it didn't really have. So I kind of
Well,
maybe get
Shimonetta is something that could have been a South Park thing.
Oh yeah, Shimonetta.
I could see South Park doing some Shimonetta stuff.
Inuyasha's manga characters look the same too, at least in the face. Yeah.
Yeah, but their anime characters don't look the same.
Yeah, because Sunrise. So I haven't read or seen. I mean, I know what the characters look like in Ranma and stuff. I think that's what he's talking about. Or Urusei Yatsura, like the characters' faces kind of look the same. In Meisuri Koku, which is the only other Takahashi. Oh no, I've seen some of Rine, but there's a show called Meisoni Koku, and that is what I started like a month or two ago, and kind of dropped. But it's another Takahashi show, and the main character kind of looks like she could be like Kikyo. Looks like she'd be Kagome's like aunt or cousin. So I can sort of see it. Then there's the newer show Rine, where like the main character just looks like a budget Kagome, except she's way less interesting. So I could see that. Pop
the main
Team
guy
Epic,
kind of looks like Rama.
that's a good example. Pop Team Epic, I guess, is sort of like that's almost like Pop Team Epic is kind of like anime Eric Andre in terms of like, or like Mad TV or something. Like, it's just like it's a lot of like sketchy kind of things. I've only seen a couple episodes, but yeah, I'd say Pop Team Epic. So like, I guess there's a place for something like that. It's just I'm not necessarily going to like it. Like, I fully believe that Trigger should exist. Trigger should exist. Okay, I'm just not really going to like what they do. So the day that like the day I see an ANN article that's like Makoto Shinkai teams up with Trigger to make fucking some shit, I'm gonna be real upset. But yeah. So I guess never watched. Sorry, I was like, I don't know. So I guess sort of to more or less wrap it up on my end. I think I'd say the big point that you should take out of this is that don't let the internet tell you what's the worst anime. You decide what's the worst anime.
Here's the thing, folks. I think you should watch bad anime because it kind of tells you what's good out there.
Yeah, you can't really appreciate the good until you've seen the Garzies.
You've got to see some bad anime. You should watch School Days. At least give it a chance. And who knows? Maybe you'll end up liking it, like I did. I think School Days is not a bad show. But
we'll see. After 9 more episodes of that, we'll see. Everyone. You know what I just said? Don't let YouTubers tell you shit. But this YouTuber is telling you that you have to watch Garzi's Wing.
Oh yeah.
At least once. And if you can, even though Rabbit's dead, Rip Rabbit 2019, never forget. Watch Garzi's Wing with friends because it is fucking. Oh, and you have to watch it dubbed, and it is fucking great. That is an awful anime that is still great.
Would you say it's a Blu-ray worthy purchase?
Oh yeah. Next Anime Boston, if I see a copy of Garzi's Wing, I'm fucking grabbing that shit because I saw a DVD copy and I didn't pick it up last year. And there's always every year at AB there's always a purchase I regret not making, and that was it.
Yeah.
Garzi's fucking Wing, dude. Well, it's gonna be like $50. So
you should show it to your dad though. The internet needs to know your father's opinion on Garzi's Wing.
His thoughts of Garzi's Wing. Yeah. We'll do a tier list of Garzi's Wing episodes, 1 through 3.
They're all top tier though.
That's true. All right. I want to thank everybody in chat for coming, and Jay Chip from the Jay Chip Show. I have his link to his channel down below. Please check him out. He makes some good stuff. He talks about games and anime and stuff and whatever. And he makes videos when he picks stuff up from pawn shops for next to no dollars.
I also did a PS2 collection video, so see what PS2 games I have.
There you go. Yeah, thank you guys so much for coming.
I'm
And
also going to Chicago, so if you see me in Chicago, say hi to me.
he's going to Chicago. You just visiting family?
No, I'm going to see AEW All Out, which is a wrestling show.
Ooh, he's going to watch some wrestling.
And I'm going to watch people in tights roll around in a ring. The manliest stuff on the planet.
Oh, sounds pretty great.
Yeah.
All right. And thank you guys so much for coming, and we'll see you all next time. See ya.